Mario-themed game where the main character can't jump. If you had pitched that concept to anybody 3 years ago, you would have been laughed out of the room. But leave it to Nintendo to make any idea work, no matter how strange it may initially seem. So, what's the final word on Captain Toad Treasure Tracker? Does this vertically challenged, mushroom-capped adventurer have what it takes to earn your coin? As stated before, Captain Toad, and his equally as playable compatriot Toadette, can't jump. A bit of a detriment when you're starring in a puzzle platformer. However, this allowed for a couple interesting design quirks that, in the end, actually helped the game a lot. For starters, because all the puzzles are based around strategic maneuvering instead of lightning-fast reflexes, they can be relatively small and still take a couple minutes to traverse. However, because of the miniature design of the stages, they take almost no time to load. Hopping in and out of Treasure Tracker is one of the most effortless experiences I've ever had on the Wii U. There is almost zero downtime here, which makes it a great game to play in short bursts or in between doing something else. But just because the puzzles are small does not mean they don't have depth. These levels are an exercise in minimalistic design, incorporating multiple layers and intersecting paths to pack as much stage into as little surface area as possible. There is far more to each of these that can be seen with just an initial glance, slowly revealing their true faces to you as you make your way through them, especially if you're hunting down all of the optional objectives. Look, I don't care how observant you think you are, some of these gems are hidden so cleverly, the only way you're going to see them is with perfect hindsight. So yes, completionists rejoice, because there is a lot to do in this game. You not only have the 3 hidden collectibles that have become a standard in Mario games lately, but also a hidden objective that reveals itself to you after you've already beaten the stage once. And yes, going in blindly like that can be just as headache-inducing as you think. Some of these make sense, like collect a lot of coins, try not to get hit, finding hidden golden mushrooms, but it seems Nintendo might have fallen prey to achievement syndrome here because a lot of these optional objectives run in direct opposition to what you'd normally be trying to do. Some stages involving moving platforms ask you to beat them within a strict number of taps, a feat that is often impossible if you're going after all the diamonds. One stage asks you not to defeat any enemies, when doing so would make the act of traversing it much easier. The very second level in the game asks you not to destroy the bridge by walking over it. The bridge that is right in front of you at the start of the level, by the way, with a diamond tantalizingly placed on its other end. May I ask how you would know any of that if you'd never played the game before? The worst part is, this makes it impossible to do a perfect run of the game, which is sure to disappoint a lot of speedrunners out there. And speaking of speedrunning, getting all the diamonds and optional objectives in one set of levels unlocks another reason to tread old ground: time trials, challenging you to beat the stages as fast as possible to unlock star marks on all of your pages. Now with that said, you may be wondering if all the mileage you're going to get out of this game is playing the same stages again and again, and for the most part, you're right, but if you feel like something different, there are a couple bonus challenges available to the meticulous, which introduce surprising new mechanics to some of these old areas. That may seem like a cop-out at first, but without spoilers, trust me when I say that these new twists completely change the way you have to approach playing them. It's a more than welcome change of pace, and speaking of change of pace, possibly one of the coolest things this game does is offer you several bonus stages right off the bat if you have save data from Super Mario 3D World on your hard drive. They're all stages from that game, too, retooled just slightly to accommodate for a character that can't jump. This is something I saw a lot of people asking for on Miiverse, so good on Nintendo for making dreams come true in that department. And speaking of Super Mario 3D World, well, again, I want to avoid spoilers, but the ending of this game is fascinating. It takes Mario games in an interesting direction, asking the question of, what if all these games were interconnected to each other? What if the events in one directly affected the others? What if some of the characters you met went off and had their own adventures, their own backstories, and their own great games? It's a direction I'd like to see taken a lot more in future titles, because who knows what kind of cool and creative experiences like Treasure Tracker we might get out of it. The last thing worth mentioning here is the attention to detail. Because of the way the camera works in these puzzles, it's preferable not to get up close to your character most of the time. But when you do, you start to realize just how amazingly rendered some of these places are. I know everybody goes off on how amazing Nintendo games look in proper HD, but it needs to be repeated here. I have to give credit to any game that inspires me to actually stop playing for a moment in favor of standing back to merely look at it, and that's exactly what happened here. But that aside, I can't help but feel like something is slipping my mind about this game. What could it be? It's not that I'm forgetting it, mind you, it just feels like something should have been in this game that isn't, maybe? Nope, can't think of it. Well, missing features or no, I definitely feel like I got 40 bucks worth of game here. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is the great kind of experience that compliments you whether you played a little at a time or religiously for hours on end. It's a budget title that offers a much larger experience than something you can beat in one sitting, which means everybody wins. If you love puzzles and just haven't scratched that obsessive collect-em-all itch lately, this is going to be right up your alley. However, if you absolutely need a story and you're not a fan of the camera work you've been seeing thus far, maybe get your fix somewhere else.